Well, once again, good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you for joining our call today. My name is Jeff Thompson. I'm the Hazardous Chemical Officer for the Department of Emergency Services. Today, we're going to be talking about the new spill release program that the state has developed. This was a huge collaboration that's taken several years between Department of Environmental Quality, the Oil and Gas Division of Mineral Resources, Department of Agriculture, and the Department of Emergency Services. The system has two different things that it does. It does Tier 2 reporting, which was covered yesterday. We have two more Thursday sessions to cover Tier 2 reporting. And it does spill release reporting, which is what we're going to be talking about today and showing you how to do the spill release reports for the state. Just want to check in quick. Is my audio working? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, that is great. Thank you very much for confirming that. So when we get to the new system, this is what the home landing page kind of looks like. As I said, the system will handle Tier 2s and spill releases. Depending on what your role is with your company, you may be doing one or the other or both. If you have a login that you use for Tier 2, you would use the same login for spill release reporting. If you only need a login for one or the other, that's not an issue. We would just register for that. So I'm going to show you the registration first. If we were doing a spill, which is what we're showing today, the first thing when you click on that registration is it's going to ask you, are you reporting an incident like a chemical spill? We're going to select yes and hit next. And if it won't work, it'll be during a demonstration. So it's supposed to take us to a form that we're going to fill out that's going to give us that information. I'm going to try and refresh and see if we can get it to come up. If not, I do have a login set up so we can still show you how the system works. Let's try again just to make sure. Okay, there we go. So this is going to be the basic form that you fill out if you're filling out a registration for just a spill release. Just some basic information, an email, a password, a little bit of information about who you are, and the CAPTCHA, just saying it's not a robot. We would click submit, and as soon as you click submit, it's going to automatically let you have an account because you're trying to do a spill report. Once you have that account information set up, you'll be able to log in. As I stated, I have one set up already, so we'll just log into that one. So the first thing that it's going to show us here is we're going to see a last login date, letting us know the last time we were in the system. And then you see kind of a home stopping page to handle any of our incidents. From this page, we can manage all the incidents that we have. If I click on all, you'll see that there's an inactive one in here already. I have a home page where we're landed at now. I can go to this incident to list all the incidents, or I can go to my account to reset my password or update any profile information, any off-duty reports. We can also filter by date, as you see here. And if you have a confirmation number that you got from a spill hotline, you can enter it there to link together the spill report. So we're going to look at adding a new incident. When I click add a new incident, that information that I entered on the registration automatically populates. So it already knows my name, my email. It's going to give today's date automatically. And then it just wants a brief description of what happened. So we're going to do an anhydrous spill today. So I'm just going to do a farm anhydrous spill as a brief description. New incident created successfully. I can click OK, and it'll bring me to the form. You'll see on the edit form that there are 6 steps. The 6 steps right now have an orange circle with the explanation point in the middle of them. As we complete the steps, those will change to green check marks. Once it's a green check mark through all 6 steps, we can submit that spill. That'll also tell us if we're missing something, so we can skip to different steps. And if there, for some reason, is something where it won't let us submit, we'll be able to tell which step has missing information according to which one doesn't have a green check mark. You can scroll down the page and get to the different steps. So here's step 1, and you'll see the edit button. We can scroll all the way through all the steps, or we can click on the step and it'll jump right to it. So here we jump to step 5 and you see the edit button. We can jump back to step 1. And so if one of these is not a green check mark at the end, we're able to jump directly to the step that we need to fill out. So we'll just click edit. You'll see that a lot of the information, it wants to carry everything over that will allow it to. You can double check it quick. There's a quick reported time is automatically filled out to this time. And then a lot of that is on that login information that we filled out to begin with. It'll ask us the incident date, if there was an incident time, and then the incident status is automatically active. Then our incident type will either be an oil and gas spill or an environmental incident. There is no longer 2 forms. Everything is on this one form. So we just pick which one fits our spill that we're reporting or release that we're reporting. And then under the incident subtype, there's some different options here for what the incident subtype is. I'm going to use equipment failure. And then it'll ask me if it's a fixed facility, transportation, well, pipeline, or other. I can click other. When I click other, it opens up this other box and allows me to free text type. So I can put in a little bit more information on what other meant. So we just get a little bit of that information. I'm going to put broken hose today. Released into the medium of air, paved ground, surface, water, groundwater, vegetation, soil, or unknown. Then we get to the location. There's a few ways that we can get to the location. The easiest is to click this blue button, and that click to find location opens up another box. And then we have several criteria. If you're an oil and gas facility and you know your NDIC number, you can do it that way. We can do it by well name. We can search by section, township, and range. We can do the road mile marker, the railroad mile marker, latitude, longitude, or an address. I'm going to open the address one, and you'll see we have some buttons here that says it is this address, which is specifically what you're typing in. It contains, which would be it has the same type of thing, or it starts with. When we do contains, you'll see the little text here that says the street. So if we're on 704 County Road or 916 West Divide, the less we type, the better we will be. And I'll show an example of that. We use the 704 County, and then I'll hit search. And you'll see that it brought up several different ones that contain that 704 county. So this is 6704 county road, and you see here that road is spelled out. Here it's 704 county B12 road, and road is abbreviated. That's why when we talk about is, if you use this is button up there and you put an abbreviation for road and in the map it was spelled out, it will not find it. So the less you put in, the more results you get, and then you can pick the correct result according to where you're actually at. So if I pick this location, it will map it, and it will fill out all the rest of this information. It'll fill out the latitude and longitude, the county, the fire district, the section, township, range, split down quarter and quarter, and then it'll tell me which region we're in. I can move the button if I'm like, well, that's pretty close, but I'm actually probably closer to here, and it will update the latitude, longitude. If I get far enough away, it will update the section. So now we're in section 14, or we can go back here and we're back in section 13. Once I'm satisfied that I have the dot where the spill was, I can go paste results back to form, and it will automatically fill in all of that data. If we would have picked an oil and gas site and an oil and gas spill, when we picked the well, it would have automatically filled in the oil and gas site details on this side on the right hand. Then we have this box here that is a checked if it's a non-standard address. If it happens to be a facility that has a 911 address, that would be put in here. For a field or a off-road spill, we can check that, and then you'll see that those red asterisks go away. That does not become a needed field to fill in anymore, because it's a non-standard address. Then we'll get to the last questions on this. Is the spill continuous? I'm going to say no. Discovered date and discovered time. We put in an estimated duration. And then since we told it that it was not continuous, it's going to ask us for an end date. If I switch this to yes, the end date becomes a non-needed field to fill in because it is a continuous spill. Is spill contained? Yes, no, or unknown. And then the extent of the spill we can put in, and then any extra details. Will it go to the National Response Center? And then we can click Save. Now you'll see it updated successfully, and the step 1 is now a green check mark. And then we can go to step 2. On step 2, we're going to look a little more about expected cause of the equipment failure. So on step 1, we said what the incident was. Now step 2 just wants to see if we have additional information that we can give for that spill. Number of confirmed fatalities is, or injuries if we have any. Health risks, and the health risks can be pulled off the safety data sheet, or if you don't have a safety data sheet, you may know what some of the health risks are. Or unknown can be put in there and it can be updated later. And then a little bit more about the locale. Anything that matches here. And then the information for how close to a building. And a little bit of weather information. The last piece of this step is the immediate potential threats. We have some pre-filled out here. If there's a fire, explosion, source water, drinking water possibility, as soon as I click on one, it will open up a little text box. Then if there's any threats to hospitals, nursing homes, domesticated animals, this would include not only your cats and dogs that would be considered pets, but your livestock as well, the cattle, the sheep, horses in the area. Parks or Rec, if you don't know if there's any threats, you can click the none of the above and you can just text type in any information that you have about those threats. And then the other one on the other side is delayed potential threats. There could be drinking water exposure, or right now it's not in the water, but there's a water source near, that would go over here. I'm going to use none of the above. And then click save. And now we see step 3 is done. Step 2 here is the incident contacts. So on the incident contacts, we have some information to help fill this out. If it's the same as the reporting party, I can click that box and it'll fill in as much of that information as we have saved in our login. So then I just have to update the boxes that aren't filled in. And then you'll see the responsible authority compliance contact has 2 boxes. We can click the same as the reporting party and it'll fill it in, but it will leave the boxes blank that we just filled in on top. So if it's exactly the same as above, I can click that box and it'll draw down everything from above. Then we have property owner. If we know the property owner and can enter that information, that's great. But you'll see that a lot of that's not required because some spills and releases, we may not know who that is. And then just the drop down box, has the property owner been informed? And we can click save. Next will be step 4, response details. Protective actions taken. Just a quick description of what we've done to make sure the spill doesn't get worse. Was there any evacuations? Was there any shelter in place? Or if there was no response reason, what was that response? You'll see a checkbox or a text box opens up. If there's any cleanup actions already taken, and then an estimated cleanup completion date. This might not be known. The waste disposal location might not be known. That's why you see there's no red asterisk that can be updated later. And we can click save. Step 4 is then updated successfully. Step 5 is the actual chemical. Are pesticides or herbicides involved? No, this one is not. If it was a pesticide, we'd just click yes on that box. And then there's a couple ways we can fill this out. If we know, we can do a lookup on the CAS chemical. If we know the CAS number or the chemical name, we can search here. You'll see ammonia. This is off from the EPA's list of lists. So anhydrous ammonia is on the top. So we can click on it and it'll draw that back over. It's going to say yes, that it's an extremely hazardous chemical because we pulled it off from the anhydrous ammonia list of lists. So it already knows that it is a hazardous, extremely hazardous chemical. If we didn't know what the chemical was, we can put NA in this box, and then we can just type either the chemical name, it might be Roundup or Roundup mixture, trade name if you have a generic name, and then it's going to ask us, is it radioactive or not? No. And then the estimated volume that we spilled, we can put in here. If we need to know the volume in barrels, we can do the estimated volume in barrels here, and then we can do gallons to pounds converter. That's more for the liquids. Since this one's already in pounds, I can just put 200. in recovered volume, then I can click Save to Chemical List, and it will save it. Now, if I had more chemicals that I'd spilled, say I rolled a truck that had multiple chemicals on it, I could do the exact same thing again, go back into the lookup. I could add whatever chemicals I needed before I saved and went completely out. I can also edit or delete a chemical. If I'm like, well, that's not, it wasn't anhydrous ammonia, it was aqueous ammonia or something like that, I can go in and edit. Or I could delete this out and say, no, that wasn't, it was the urea truck, not the ammonia truck, something of that nature. Or I can just click save if that's correct. And now step 5 is save. And then we get to step 6. Step 6 is certifying the report, just saying all the information is correct to the best of my knowledge. And a little bit of contact information, and we click submit. So certifies the details edited successfully, and it's finished. Then when I go to the list of incidents, I can see I now have an active spill in my list of incidents. So there's a couple ways I can view this. Then I can click that blue link. Then I can click view, and it will bring up that same form. I can see the entire thing as it was entered.
Hey, Jeff,
yep.
This is Eric. You got a question in the chat.
In the chat.
What type of information would you need to provide if it was a NRC reportable?
Yeah, so if it's an NRC reportable, it's the same form. Just when we got to that question, you would click that it was being reported to the NRC. So I will do an update and show you. So I'm in that report, and I'm going to click update and click proceed. You'll see that it brings up everything that I already had, but then when I get to that section, you remember which section it was. I believe it's section 5. Oh. I'll find it. There is a question that we check off that asks if it's being reported to the NRC.
Is that the only thing, is just checking of that button? There's not additional information you need to provide?
Nope, no additional information other than filling out that that's going to the NRC. Right here. So that would be in add, edit the incident report. And at the very bottom of that, reported to National Response Center, we would just put yes and save. And then all the rest of this form is the same. Nothing
so
additional
I guess
than that.
they added to it, yeah, no NRC number needs to be provided.
Nope, when we get the NRC from the National Center, our state, as in the emergency services, whoever is, probably Randy or myself, whoever's doing spills for that, will add that form to your spill. So it will all be together, but we'll add that NRC form when it comes in. And then since I made that change, I can click do the certification again and click submit, and now it will show that there is an update. When I go to the list incidents, I have my farm spill that is active. And then when I click on that farm spill, you'll see there's now 2 reports. There's the initial report where we didn't have the NRC marked, and then we have an update where we said, yeah, we did send it to the NRC. The state is asking that we do either an update or a closure report within 30 days of all spills. You'll see I click on that add update, and that's where that is. It's initial update or a closeout. And then that gives us, you can do multiple updates too. If a spill is taking longer or you have more information to update, you can do as many updates as needed to any one spill. I go back to this list. I know we had question about the active and inactive and how someone that submitted a spill knows when the state is done with it or when we've looked at those actions. So you'll file a closeout report letting us know that you believe that your spill is cleaned up to the proper cleanup procedures. And then the state has a review process that we go through to make sure that we're kind of done with that. And then we will change it to inactive, and it will show as inactive on your home page. And then if you have a bunch of spills that are inactive, or you have multiple spills that you're working with the state, you can sort those and say, I only want to see the ones that are active. I want to look at one that I know was closed out, or I want to see all the spills within the state for my login. I would entertain more questions now. Go ahead and unmute yourselves and we'll try to talk through any questions you have or type it in the chat. As we wait, January 1 is our expected turn on date for the system. We'll be switching to this style or the new system here on January 1st. So Department of Environmental Quality, Oil and Gas, Department of Emergency Services, Department of Agriculture, we will all make sure we have the link up to get to the new system on our sites. And then this will become the spill reporting system moving forward from January 1.
Jeff, this is Bill.
Yep.
I'm Bill Cease with the North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality. One thing I'd like to recommend is when you're doing your registration, if you're a company that has multiple people reporting spills, like a lot of the oil and gas companies do, I would recommend having one log on, one registration for your company. That way you get to see everything your company has. If each person who reports has their own separate log on, they'll only see what they reported. So.
Yep, thanks, Bill. That's a great point. That works the same way with the tier 2 versus the spills. You can do one login for your company and do your tier 2 reporting and your spill reporting on that same exact login. Or you can do one login for tier 2 and one login for spill reporting. Which is what I know some of the companies are doing, since the tier 2 reporting is quite a bit separate from spill reporting for some companies. Either way is workable. Any other questions from the crowd?
I have a question about the updating. So is the person that enters the initial spill doing updates, and or state agencies also entering updates?
So the person that enters the initial spill or somebody from that company should be doing an update or a closeout report within 30 days. There may be more information that you have to update than that, or if the spill takes longer to clean up because it was a large spill, there may be several updates. If it's a small spill, that one update may just be that closeout report. And the state will also do updates and comments on the system as well that will be attached to that spill, but that will be on a little bit different level, so to speak. We have our own portion of the system that allows our inspectors and personnel to add their information as well.
Okay, so we'll be able to see those updates by the state folks, or is that not viewable by those of us that would be entering a spill?
So you'll be able to see when it goes inactive. You won't be able to see all the comments from the inspectors. Anything that's allowed on the public side will be seen. So not everything, no.
Okay, so as soon as we see inactive, it's basically closed out.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Can you add attachments to the report?
So we have heard that comment and we are working on that because we feel that that is a great asset for you guys to be able to add attachments. At this time, the system does not do that, but we're really hoping that that is fixed and doable by January 1st. We feel that that is a great asset for everyone to be able to add your internal reports or photos or things of that nature to the report. So we're working on that very, very hard. Anything else? Anything else from my state partners? I see a question in the chat. Who can view the database? Only people with a login. Can the public access? There is a public access that will be allowed, very similar to what is now. It is very similar to the one that Department of Environmental Quality has now in what is allowed to be seen from the public view. So they don't have access to everything, but there is a public search site that will be part of this database as well, public facing piece.
Will open events that were submitted before this system goes live, are they going to be moved over to this system, or are they still going to be have to be handled differently through the old way?
They will not come forward. January 1 will be new system going forward, but we're not pulling forward anything that was in the old system to the new system. Bill, that might be a good question for you. I'm assuming if it was already started in the old system, you're leaving it there?
That's correct.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be a little bit of a nightmare trying to move everything over.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of data entry.
One of the things I want to clarify when you're looking for something to go inactive, so you've submitted your closeout report. So we have like Jeff said, we have a review process, but you have keep in mind that if vegetation was impacted by this. So quite commonly a produced water spill, herbicide spill, something like that has killed off the vegetation or damaged it. We are going to monitor that spill. You might be done with your cleanup, but we're going to continue to monitor that spill until we see the vegetation come back properly and healthy. So you might submit right now at this time of year, you might be submitting your closeout, but it'll be spring before we might be able to set that thing to inactive. So just a heads up on that.
Yep, thanks, Bill. The other thing with filling out the form, depending on how you answer those questions, this form automatically goes out to the correct people. So Department of Environmental Quality, Department of Emergency Services, Oil and Gas Division of Mineral Resources will automatically get every spill. If you marked that it was a herbicide, pesticide, domestic animals were involved, that will automatically go to Department of Agriculture. If you marked that there was a fire or an explosion, that'll go to the fire marshal's office. Whichever county it was in will automatically go to the emergency manager. It's nobody new. It's nobody that wasn't getting that information before. It's just more automated now so that we don't have to forward 100 emails on. And it's all based on federal code and North Dakota Century Code, who that is going to. Any other questions from the group? If there are no other questions, I thank everyone for joining us. We'll have these recordings available on that new website. As people start getting into the system, it might help to see it again. We'll also be available as we start using the system to help answer questions, and hopefully we have few of these to do, but the system hopefully is a little easier when we actually have to do it. And thanks for your time and have a good day.